The 2025 National Sports Card Collectors Convention was all about reuniting with old friends. Some more than 100 years old. With a light rain falling, our shuttle approached the Stevens Convention Center in Chicago before the official opening. I met up with my old friend, my oldest friend really, who serves as my Sancho Panza at these events, who I only get to see once or twice a year, and we shared a beer in the lobby awaiting the show to open. Waiting the last few minutes in line, I noted everyone's choice of comfortable shoes, meaning they all must have watched all of the completely obvious tips for the national videos abounding YouTube at this time of year. 30 minutes early, they opened the gates, and we were off to the races. One of the first cards I encountered upon entering was this 1931 W517 card of Chuck Klein. It seemed familiar, like an old friend you hadn't seen for years and you weren't quite sure if it was them, and I couldn't quite place it. Where have I seen this card? I made a mental note and moved on. It was an hour or so before I came upon a promising booth with T207 cards, but alas, no Phillies. The first of many strikeouts. But they did have two 1922 cards for my team set, an American Caramel Goldie Wrap and a Nielsen's Chocolate Type 1 of Jimmy Ring, a hundo for the pair. With the first cards out of the way, I shook the guy's hand and went into the increasing crowds. A few booths down, I took note of some T205s in a case, specifically a John Rowan. I got the same old friend feeling that I got with the Chuck Klein card. I was certain that I'd seen that card before, but I couldn't quite place it. My concentration was broken by Sancho Panza jumping into a chaos bin next door, and though I was first put off by the distraction, I'm glad he did it. In that chaotic mess was a Kellogg's Mike Schmidt, a Hires Root Beer Chico Fernandez, a 61 Ashburn, some 55 Redman tobacco cards, and an Exhibits Baseball Greats of Pete Alexander. $10 for the lot. Way cheaper than the next booth that had about 20 Ruths and 5 52 mantles. A ways down the row, I found another vintage dealer with 1922 American Caramels, and got closer to completion of that set with Curtis Walker and Butch Handline, both in fine shape. Another hundo for this pair. Whilst wallowing in my own crapulence, I had my first Grail sighting. There was a 1915 Cracker Jack Grover Cleveland Alexander, SGC1, all covered in peanut oil for $38.50. Someday. Not a Grail, but I spotted two Harper rookie short prints, both of which were priced in the idiotic zone, so I didn't even bother to ask the dealer to take them out of the case. Working down the increasingly crowded rows, I spotted a stash of T207 brownbacks containing Pat Moran. He was a little beat up, and so for only $25 made his way into my care. Neither of us knew what was in store. It was nice to be at a show where there are more than just a few tables with cards that really interest me. Booth after booth of crazy cool vintage. Stuff you rarely see, like 41 Gaudies, 1920s era strip cards, and Exhibits postcards, like this one of the 1950 WizKids team. This one was a PSA 6, and I passed thinking I could find it cheaper and probably ungraded. A risk at a show like this. I made the same risk by not buying this beautiful T205 Chaz Doohan, a Hassan back. It was only $65. I have that card in a Sweet Capital back already, so it wasn't necessarily high on the priority list for a first day buy. I made a note and hoped it would still be there later. For the Exhibits card, I did find it cheaper and very soon thereafter. $30 later, and I had the only team photo of this pennant-winning squad. Cruising along this first day, I came upon Stan's Vintage Cards, a great booth and a legendary dealer, and a stand-up guy. He saw me in my Phillies gear and said, "Hey, Phillies guy, you bought all those play ball cards from me last year, right? Good to see ya." He made us feel like old friends. Stan had a cache of E120s with Huck Betts lurking inside. The card had some heavy creasing, but this one is a super tough card from the set, and this was the first time I'd ever seen it. So I thought it prudent to just buy it. I can always upgrade it in the future. Through the first day, and I was just one card short of my 1922 team set goal. The Lee King card had not yet been found. Stan did have a 1939 play ball Chuck Klein, or 20 of them, and so I had my pick. It was close to 8 p.m. and the show was closing. The bathrooms had no lines. The air was on the comfortable side of chilly. My phone always had internet access, and snacks were readily available. A good first impression for this national. On the way out, I came across a 1971 Topps high number of Dick Allen. The dealer had it marked at 75, but he told me I could have it for 60, and again took the risk to find one better for the same money, or a similar condition card for less money the next day. The 1971 is the last card in my career run for this new Hall of Famer. Risky again to leave it, but I left it. The free shuttles got me back to the hotel as scheduled, and I laid out my cards, wallowed further in my own crapulence. Thus endeth the first day. I woke up the next day thinking immediately of the 1931 Chuck Klein. I knew I had seen that card before. It had outfield written on it, making it unique. Then it came to me. I had seen that card at a show in Tulsa, the same exact card. I reviewed my highs and lows video, linked below, and that's the same card. Same sleeve, same everything. Was that the same dealer? So I had to find out. So after a quick breakfast, another on-time shuttle, and a breezy entry line, I went right back to that booth. It turns out it was the same dealer who remembered the Cracker Jack card I bought from her almost a year ago. Just like meeting an old friend. If you ignore the noise, baseball cards can really be a great community, full of friends, old and new. While we were there, I spotted a 1920 W514 strip card of Dodie Paskert. This is the first of a new set for me, and a new connection with this old friend of a dealer. Now into the second day, I realized I hadn't yet picked up any Harpers for the kid, so we found a player box and yoinked this heritage card for him, the first of what would be many. I stopped to gawk at a case full of rare Cracker Jacks with high 4- and 5-figure prices, and then settled into some discount bins to dig. It was a great excuse to sit and rest. Maybe it's corny, but just look at this old Sport Flicks card. I'd take this over a gold Crackle Shimmer Ice Prism numbered to 88.5 any day. And I did. And it was only 50 cents. Adding to the T207 pile was this Pat Moran in stellar condition. Now I had already bought this card the day before, but decided this one was so nice I couldn't pass on it. But what to do with the other one? The National had a bunch of autograph dealers, as it always does, and this guy had the books organized by team. It was a great album to just peruse, but I did find some gems to add to my collection. Passing the lunch hour, I still hadn't found the 1922 Lee King, and found another vintage dealer with a promising pile, but to no avail. I was lamenting to the dealer my difficulty in finding a certain card, much like last year, when I just couldn't find a 1934 Gaudy high number of Dolph Camilli. He asked what I was looking for, and I said the 1922 American Caramel Lee King. The dealer gave me a wink, pulled out his personal collection, and boom, Lee King. That completes my 1922 team set and completes my highest priority goal for this national. Why did he sell me a card out of his personal stash? Who knows, but he made a new friend. I took down his info and looked to reconnect later down the road, when hopefully we'll be old friends. The National was gigantic this year. Huge room after huge room. It seemed endless. And there was a whole second floor upstairs that was so crowded that we barely stayed. Way bigger than Cleveland last year, and no doubt the biggest card show I'd ever been to. It was crowded, but not crushing. No lines for the bathroom, short lines for snacks, great air conditioning, no lines to get in or out, shuttles running on time, all of it really well done, and it allowed me to focus on cards. So I found a discount bin with a complete 1993 Topps Gold Phillies team set for $1. That was a pennant year, and I was still missing a few of the golds, but now I've got them all. Remember that Chaos box from earlier that had 355 Redman tobacco cards in it? Well, now there's a fourth to the collection, and now I have officially started collecting the 1950s Redman tobacco cards, something I had no intention of doing, but collecting is fun like that. You can just stumble into new avenues and find so much joy in them. This Robin Roberts still had the tab attached, a bonus. The same booth had a 41 Gaudy I was looking for and the 71 Dick Allen I had passed on the day before. I passed at $60. This card here, in equal condition, I snagged for $40. Knowing it near impossible to beat that price, I happily scratched it off the list. If you follow my shorts, you'll know I have a series that tracks all the Phillies roster moves and their baseball cards. I passed by a quarter box, and laying open was Carlos Hernandez. He began this year with the club, but was released a while back. This is his only baseball card. And there it was, just sitting there. So I took a quarter out of my pocket, gave it to the dealer, who gave me a very puzzled expression. "You want just one card?" "Yep, just one. This one." I pulled it out of the box, and I put it in my bag. Late on day 2, I did a little sightseeing through the REA auctions booth, which was like a frickin' museum. I had another Grail sighting, a very clean SGC3 Grover Cleveland Alexander, and also really liked the PSA 6.5 Jackie Robinson rookie. But my favorite of all of the REA stuff was an original Post cereal pack, still sealed, and on the bottom was Mickey Mantle himself. Just awesome. If you've never seen where the Post cereal cards come from, well, now you have, and I hope whoever buys it will preserve it for all time. Near closing on the second day, I went back to Stan's vintage booth to look more closely at his Cracker Jacks. I had the budget to bring one home and decided upon Fred Luderus. It's everything I like. It looks old, it has the candy stains on the back, but the image is clear. A winner for me. This was my biggest card of the show, and what I thought would be my most exciting purchase. We closed out the second day with a beer and a YouTuber get-together that was hilariously shut down after 10 minutes. I did get to meet Mike O, and Keith from Vintage Card Curator, whose channels I very much like, and Hitman23, whose channel I hope to get to know. Day 3 began with a long line. The first 2 days we just waltzed right in, but the staff was trying new crowd management this day. It wasn't so bad. They were scanning prepaid entrants in the line and giving out bracelets, so when the doors did open, we cruised right through. This looks bad, but it really wasn't. My Day 3 plan started with going to the dealer who had the Hassan-backed T205 Chaz Doohan card from the first day. I decided to just buy it, but he sold it. Well, crap. So my backup plan was the other T205 guy with the John Rowan. When I got back to his booth, the card was thankfully still there. And again, I got the feeling that I had seen this card before. It had tape on the back. eBay. I looked it up. This card had been on my eBay watch list for months. I'd almost bought it a number of times. I compared the pictures, and yep, that's the identical card, like an old friend. I had been eyeing this card for months. I talked the guy down to $150 for the card, which with tax and shipping is like $120 on eBay. Super happy to finally own this rare card I'd been eyeing for months, and what a peculiar turn of events. Day 3 crowds were heavy, but manageable. With much of my list behind me, I took some leisure time to joyfully peruse and let the winds of collecting blow, which took me to some E121 cards to complement my now complete E120 set. A few Crispy Bowman upgrades, another T207 Brownback that I had missed the previous 2 days, George Chalmers in this case. The same dealer had a complete T205 set for sale, and a complete T206 set minus the Big Four, for a paltry $186,000. I dug through more discount bins, loading up on Harper's for the kid, who after 3 days, I was really starting to miss, and avoiding at all cost the oceans of stars of MLB cards lurking everywhere. We need a collective hobby burn pile for these inserts. They are absolutely flooding every $5 box, $2 box, dollar box, and quarter box, and from what I can see, nobody's buying them. But just when the stars of MLB cards were ready to drive me crazy, the winds of collecting blew me to a booth full of old tobacco boxes, including a 1912 Recruit Little Cigars box with the correct tax stamp on it. The very box that would have come with the T207 Brownback card in it. If you recall, I bought 2 Pat Moran cards, so I dug out the first one, removed it from its plastic prison, and with the permission of the dealer, reunited these long-lost friends. Lonely ships passing in the night. What a feeling to touch history like this. With the card and box together again. Of course, I had to buy the box. My final big purchase of the 2025 National, which was shaped by all of these instances of old friends finding each other. In the coming weeks, I'll craft a display for this, but that will, of course, be another video. Having run to the edge of my budget and the end of my time, we headed for the exit. On the way out, I saw a box of 2025 Topps cards. The Phillies having just traded for Harrison Bader and Juan Duran, I wanted to pick them up for the team set. On quick order, both cards popped out. With no prices marked, I asked the dealer how much he wanted. He said, "Just the 2 cards?" "Yep, just the 2. "Just take 'em," he said with a smirk. I shook his hand. "Thanks, friend." I walked from the convention center to the metro stop, took the train 1 stop to the airport, and flew home. Arriving well after my beautiful wife and kid were in bed, I risked a little light and spread out my new treasures to take it all in. 3 days of baseball card paradise, and new stories to tell you, my old friends. Thanks for watching. Help support the channel with the purchase of custom-made card box dividers. Email me at philliesbaseballcards@gmail.com to talk about how.